Hello, everybody. Now, this is my third or fourth live. So now I know that when I hit the run button, I no longer have to ask Void whether I'm live or not. I know I am. So, hello. This is a very special live today because it's not an interview. It's not supposed to be educational. It's supposed to be fun. Fun for everyone because it's a book launch party. And I don't have I should have we're supposed to have fun today with everyone that hopefully will come. Will still, there is like a watch icon, but I now remember it's broken. It only shows, I think, YouTube views and not LinkedIn views, so it's pretty confusing. I think I need to go to comments, and then if someone writes anything, I can see it. And to only have the actual figure, I would have to watch LinkedIn, but I don't want to do it. I just want to, if there's no one here, we'll just have the 3-person super party, and that's also awesome. So for people who are joining us now, and for people who watch this later when it's not live, I'm Dr. Bot. You probably know me because it's on my profile, it's on my YouTube. And I have 2 lovely guests with me who made me an offer, so which I didn't really aspire to that much. So hi Teresa, hi Diana. Thank you for being here. Thank you for writing a book together. And perhaps before we go to more casual talk and have some fun with our memories on writing, or like inspirations, or what we find silly or more inspiring with one another chapters, let's talk to the source of this little paper thingy that we all named. So Teresa, I remember you reaching out to me. What was it like? I think it was February last year.
Yeah, about a year ago.
Yeah, that you are looking for co-authors, that it's going to help aspiring PMs to become, or sitting PMs to become better and adjust to how our position is now shaping in the world of AI and the world where it's pretty hard to come up with an original idea, which was very on brand with my mission, vision, and what I tried to do. But tell me, how was it from your side, where I presume Diana was selected immediately, and I was like your 5th pick after a few rejections?
No, I mean, I think
That would be in line with my dating life back when I was 18 or something.
I was going to say, as long as your wife isn't listening, we're okay. But yeah.
yeah, we're good then. No, it's interesting. Like, if you think back to a year ago, I don't remember like the exact launch of when Chat GPT happened and like the big, launch of AI products, which I still again find hilarious, having built text analytics engines, 10 years ago. And the topic of AI is, for another day. But ultimately, a lot of change was happening right within the product space. And I have led large and small product UX and design teams the last 15, 20 years. And so really what inspired the topic of this book is not just the change of AI, but the generational change. So I have managed my career. I've managed Gen Z, I've managed baby boomer, I've managed all across generations. And I think there is a difference in style to what you get with every generation. And that's really what inspired the book. I think that being able to work together with different generations and then also being able to recommend what's really going to happen with AI. Is it going to impact our daily job? Is it going to be something that takes over our jobs? Is still a relevant topic. So that's really what inspired it. And then just being a product practitioner on my own. And Bart and I have had competitive Udemy courses. I mean, your courses are doing better than mine, so not really that competitive. But that's like a big, I thought it would be fun to kind of reach out and be like, hey, like we're competing, on this one course. And it led down some really good conversations. And Diane and I had connected a few years ago. I mean, both of us speak at different events. I don't know who's traveled more the last 2 or 3 years, you or me, but yeah, so just really cool to see all of our experiences kind of come together for this book. Dan, I don't know if you have more to add there. So
yeah, I think it's serendipity, because I think we come at product from very similar, complementary, but also different perspectives. And so, I love Bart's, like global reach in regards to your humor, the way you approach things is amazing. Teresa's got this background of just being so solid in all the different aspects of product management. And then I come at it from, being from Silicon Valley and that, very much that tech combined with user experience. And so I think it's amazingly complementary, but also it allows us to have great insight into additional lenses into product management. So I love the way that you put us together.
Yeah, I mean, it might be funny what I say, but I reread the book yesterday and I felt like we all, though we are so different, and you can see slightly different styles, and you can tell that those are different people writing specific chapters, it's still, I felt like I can sign my name after every one of those chapters. And there wasn't like a single advice or a single line that I felt like, no, this isn't what I would tell someone when mentoring. In fact, I would probably took my chapters and improved them a little because I felt like, no, I could have done better. But I don't know about you, but every time I write something and I go back to it like 6 months ago, it was like, who the hell wrote that? I mean, this is so bad. I need to improve it. And the story repeats after 6 months and after 6 months and after 6 months. And I'm not sure whether I'm schizophrenic or it's just that I keep improving as an author and I can see what I did wrong in the previous edition of whatever I wrote.
And I think that's what I love about the digital age. I mean, things change so rapidly. Like as Teresa said, I mean, we've been talking about AI for a long time, but it took a certain inflection point to be able to take off. And I think it's going to be similar to the way that people approach writing. I mean, what we did was at that point in time. And so as you continue to evolve, the technologies, the practices, that's what's amazing about digital. You can just keep updating things or adding in elements.
I think what's so funny, when we were doing kind of some of the early readers, some of the questions, that we got was, why didn't you just write a whole product book on AI, on artificial intelligence? And I was like, well, that's a really great question. Had we done that a year ago, we would be out of date. It would be completely out of date. And we did touch on AI in the book and a bit of where it's going, how we think it's not going to replace product management, but ultimately writing about where AI is going with product management goes out of date very quickly. It's easy to write a post. It's easy to talk about it every day or, every week, but where it's going to be in a year is going to be vastly different. And that's why that wasn't the sole topic of the book, right? It's not just about AI. It's how do you really complement what you're doing with your skill set alongside AI and also improve as a product manager, altogether.
Yeah.
It's actually funny that the AI as in ChatGPT hype word seems to be dimming down and being replaced by its younger sibling AI agents, which are still like in their infancy. I've been asked already to write articles on, for example, whether AI agents will replace product discovery, and I've written a big piece, and the feedback was, hey, it's not unique enough. It's nothing I didn't know already. Can you give us some more unique insights and developments? And I mean, I can't write about things that doesn't exist yet. I can speculate. Yeah. Please speculate. But the impression was that I'll be able to write about, I don't know, AI agents that already just talk to you and do your Excels and stuff. But I'm not sure if you've seen the Samsung Galaxy's event yesterday. I haven't, but I've seen a few videos which I'm seeing, let's say, Siri and Cortana and Google Assistant starting to take shape as I dreamed it. It's like apparently the new Bixby in combination with Gemini AI is able to understand if you tell it to, for example, check when the game is on next week and add a reminder to my calendar to book tickets in 3 days.
Yeah.
And this AI is able to Google the information, extract it, and then add the information to your calendar as long as it's Samsung calendar on its own. So that's
But here,
already the
here's the real
impressive
question,
level.
though. I don't know if you touched on this in your article, but I think where this is really going to run into a wall is privacy and security. So I don't know if you guys remember back when, and I'll give a shout out, I guess, to people that I can't chat back for some reason, but thanks, Josh. He says, congrats to all of you on this accomplishment. This book's very insightful and useful. Thanks for the shout out. But ultimately, where I think these AI agents are going to run into a snag is privacy and security. So I don't know if you guys remember the Adobe post like 6 months ago where they had released a new privacy policy update that said basically they have access to anything you put in the cloud and they can do whatever they want with it. Now, there's some gray area there, but think about these chat agents, just like whatever you put into a wiki or whatever you put on the internet, what you put in ChatGPT, everything that you're giving these AI agents is now information that you're giving about yourself. So think about doing your taxes every year. Think about all these different private things you store on your computer, and now you're enlisting a chat agent that has access to your entire computer. So I have dabbled into a little bit. I'm not a chief information security officer, but as a product leader that has dabbled in security, that's where I think they're going to run into a snag. And it's not going to be with your baby boomers. It's going to be with your later generations coming up, your Gen Zers, millennials.
Yeah.
Actually, I was thinking, Diana, go ahead. Sorry, I was about to say that here we're talking too much over you. So,
no. I think it's amazing because, I mean, that's one thing about, I guess, being older. There are trends like this that have happened before, and so it always takes a while for things to sort themselves out. And I think from that perspective, it's more about the mindset around how you are able to adapt to new technologies. How do you use them in an appropriate manner? Like, exactly as you guys have said, we've seen so much adoption of AI just for the sake of something, bright and shiny. But then it's now scaling back a bit to be like, okay, what do our customers really need? What is really going to help them? And it goes through, that hype cycle. And so being able to think about, new technologies from a thoughtful perspective, from a positive perspective, from a way that'll enable and enhance people's lives, it takes a bit for the hype to die down, for that reality to come in. And I think we're starting to see that now. But it goes back to what we're saying. If we had written the book about one subject that is new and evolving, the book would have been out of date. And so we wrote about foundational elements that should be in place regardless of the technology, that's common or, being hyped at this point in time. And I think that gives everybody a great foundation.
Yeah, besides, I think fixating on AI in product management is the new version of the oldest problem in the product management book, which is finding a problem to your solution.
Yeah.
I've seen many companies that would just like throw their roadmap away and we need to do something with AI. But what? Why? And you never start with a solution. You need to start with a problem. I do admit that for AI, it's sort of one and the same sort of at some point, because it unlocked functionalities and features that were not realistic or possible in the past. But it should be the way that you go back, you examine the biggest problems you have in your product, and can we use this new tool to do it, and can we hallucinate an answer from time to time without jeopardizing people's lives. But if you just do the AI to put AI on the box, it's sort of crazy. It's like every product leader replace AI with 3D and the moment you say we need to do something in a product that's 3D, then it's like, are you fucking crazy? Oh, I swear in my life.
Can't say that. We're live. Where's the bleep?
I
you,
can't
Ash.
believe myself. Yeah. Oh, I think that's the first time I sweared, like when in the 4 years of my
I would say LinkedIn is like 18 plus, so I think we're okay. I think we're okay there. No, I want to bring up, so John White, since I can't chat on here, I'll just verbally respond. He put, I think that most people will give up their privacy for the convenience of what AI provides, and tying that into what you said, Bart, on really finding the problem. I think that's exactly it, right? As long as you are researching and understanding the problem for the product that you're delivering, of if someone cares about privacy or not, is how you're going to change that. So let's take, for instance, a mobile app. The big debate on, do I put a login with Meta, login with X, on there, or do I put, log in and create your own email account or phone number? So I actually ran a study on this last year, asking generationally, which would you prefer? And Gen Z, again, this was a small sample size. So like this was less than 100, over 50, somewhere between there. Gen Zers said they preferred, obviously, to use they were fine logging in with Meta and TikTok, whatever was available. But millennials was the highest, which I fall in that category, said, no, I will not log in with that. And they preferred phone number or not to log in at all. And I found that to be hilarious. That's going to change across every generation. But I think that is interesting, right? So really doing the research, AI is going to be over 15 trillion market by 2030. So how many AI products are going to come out between now and then? So Bart, I feel like you should give a shout out to Pal for
Yeah. I mean, Pavel is an awesome person. Pavel started his PM influencer career slightly after me, and so he does that as that shorter, and his inspiration because he's so much better at this than I am. He spends tons of time analyzing data. His newsletter is an absolute freaking success, and every day I'm looking in the mirror in the morning and asking myself, why didn't I start that bloody newsletter yet? And it's like, I don't know, it's sort of funny because all my life I feel like I'm number two to someone, which is on one hand sometimes felt demotivating, but at the same time I feel that like when I am the number two in anything, I have more energy and have more ideas and more passion to what I do because I have something to chase. So thank you, Pavel, for being the tail I can grab, and thank you for reading the book. I'm happy you liked it. I actually asked Pavel to join us for a moment, but unfortunately he's busy with family life, so let's not disturb that.
I was gonna say, just pull him on here. He could. He probably won't curse. So I'm kidding.
I probably would have edited my cursing if it wasn't live, but I guess. Well, it's a party. I guess maybe like some alcohol people had and will be more tolerant for a cursor one.
It all depends on your time of day.
Oh, yeah, I think we need to block someone from our chat. So you can, if you can do that, you could do a nice block and delete there. But I think that I also follow Pal, so I think I agree with everything you said. I think he's really inspiring, and it's amazing to see that. So
yeah. I love the facts, like John's coming through as well, just talking about the changes and what's happening in regards to the ROI. And I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens across the different industries. And exactly as he's highlighting, I mean, the use cases are going to be what really stands the test of time. The test and learn is important because, you get that knowledge under your belt, but the things that really enhance people's lives, I think, are going to be what differentiates companies that are doing something with AI that actually solve a problem, as opposed to, as Bart said, just creating a problem for the sake of it.
And the funny thing about this iteration of AI is that unlike previous hype techs like crypto, Web3, VR, 3D, it's actually very, very useful in many, many applications. It's just that people got crazy initially thinking, like John says, that it will be the savior of everything. And it's not. It can't be a lawyer. It won't really, at the moment, it doesn't replace lawyers, though there was an attempt at it. It's not replacing like good quality blog posts because it doesn't have personal observations. It will never have its own experiences unless it lies to have them. So it's like, let me quote my previous manager from Microsoft, that he said that AI won't replace PMs. PMs using AI will replace PMs that don't use it. It was similar with accountants and calculators or something, right? But
yeah, totally. Yeah, it'd be great, I think, for everybody just to share a story from the book. So talking about either, how you got into product management, or what is something that excites you about product management. So I don't know, Teresa, you want to get us started? What inspired you?
Yeah. So, since we are in the new year and it's like going to be tax season here in the United States, I actually got my started product management with a tax company, with H&R Block. So it's funny, we talk about research and problem solving. The very first problem I was given when I joined H&R Block, they had told me TurboTax had come into the market in the United States, and they had taken over, 60% of their user base, like something wild. And TurboTax was a software company. H&R Block were tax experts. And so ultimately, my job as a product analyst at the time, this is almost 20 years ago at this point, was really to do my taxes and understand the experiences I was having in these different solutions, of which some of them were still on paper. I mean, it was, a different type. It's wild, right? And I'd actually implemented, I don't know if you guys ever heard of Clarabridge or ever used Clarabridge. You've probably heard of them. But I implemented, which is now like a heavy text analytics engine, the ability to get customer feedback. And so I had implemented an ideas forum, and I was getting direct feedback from customers on what they liked about the product, what they didn't. And that's what I used to drive a lot of the product decisions, running focus groups and additional feedback. So, and that's, I think, ultimately what made me fall in love with product. That and all the, wild booze-filled events in my early 20s that probably can't happen today at the companies, but were really prevalent, back then. But that's how I got my start, was in product taxes. So pretty exciting.
I have a funny anecdote about my beginnings and how audience changes over time. So other than starting in a very small startup with like maximum 20 people, where I was named the product manager just by accident, really, I then moved on to a German job board called Stepstone, which owns also a lot of job boards in UK, Africa, there's one in the US. But regardless of that, when I started working for the mobile app, it was 5 years-ish ago, I will challenge for a mobile app in Germany that is about finding jobs. Guess what was the most common requested feature to add to the app? The ability to print the job ads.
Oh, wow.
They wanted a print button on a mobile app.
All right. Do they have a printer nearby?
Yeah, probably sold with a toilet-sized printer, so you can read your job board ads on the place where you traditionally read the newspaper in the morning. I just want to clarify something regarding my foul mouth. Technically, we are still PG-13 because in America you are allowed a single F word in a movie to keep your PG-13 rating, and only when there's 2 F words, then you are mature audience.
Okay, so we got to make sure we keep it under that limit.
That's a lot of
Yeah,
pressure
so
for
Yeah.
Diana and
so
I.
I
I was
used
like,
all
for
our
product,
efforts to our teenagers watching us.
funny. Classic. But I love how we all came at product management from a different perspective because I get the
Mhm.
question a lot, like, how do you get into product management? What's a traditional path? What do people typically do? And there is no typical path. I mean, everybody comes at product management based on, their background, their interests, their experience, et cetera. And my entry and point into product management was through user experience research. And so that was what I was doing. I wanted to be able to make products better for users. I wanted to understand what made users tick. So got into user experience research and worked alongside some amazing product people at Salesforce. And that led me to be like, okay, I really enjoy this product thing. I want to get more involved. And went into my next job at Monster, so an alternative to Stepstone. And that is how I began product management. But there are so many different paths, and that's what I think also makes product management really cool. It's like you can be technical or not, you can be more designer or not, you can be more user or not, but all of these different characteristics make product management exciting.
So listen, we had one star guesting on the stream, and now we have another who with David. David is once the, I think, best earning author on Medium in terms of profits from his blog. He's the author of a book that came a few months before ours, the Untrapping Product Teams, which I also had a pleasure of reading and recommending. So that one author to another. Thanks, David, that you enjoyed our book. I enjoyed yours. I recommend it to ladies with me on the stream. And thank you for also being there to teach us on some things that are not obvious to us. I mean, his specialty in getting what makes a great PM apart from all the BS we have to survive is really inspiring. So thank you for chipping in, and maybe that's an inspiration for making this an actual party so we can have some fun. And I told you one funny story. I have lots of them in my backlog, but Diana, what's the silliest thing you had to do as a product manager in your career? Like the thing that you are most unhappy with, or where you had to do something your manager told you, you'll pick something that we can all enjoy as from cringe or a funny story, trying to inspire you with many words and give you some lead time to figure out what you want to say. Thus, I'm
you.
using more words than needed to ask this question.
No problem. I think all of us have had stories of things that have been a priority on the business, and you did them, you were 95% done, and you woke up one morning and a different priority is now number one, and the thing that you've almost completed is not going to be launched. So I think that's a common theme probably for a lot of product managers. I've experienced that too. But I think for me, it's just, I don't know, the opportunity to be able to explore what's coming next. Bart, you were saying being asked to predict the future. I think that's a little bit of what product management is. And so sometimes, predicting the future, you get things a little bit right, depending on how you spin it. Other times you may not. But one of the things that comes to mind for me as I was asked, what do you think about, the rise of technology? Is it something that everyone's going to embrace? And I still think it's the case that really what makes technology powerful is when you don't see it. It's just there. It's working behind the scenes, just making things better. And so I always think of that story, maybe not as funny, but just as an interesting twist on how people see technology and product management. Is you want that new thing to be so visible, but I actually think it's more powerful when it's not, that it's just there behind the scenes making the product better.
And I think,
how about you? Yeah.
I was going to say, do I address the bromance going on, or do I dive into? No, I'm just kidding.
We're just good fellows from WhatsApp. We talk a lot. We inspire each other. So bromance as guilty as charged. There I say.
I'm just kidding. No, I love it. I think each of us have kind of built and connected, this community of, product leaders across the globe. And That's what I love so much about being in product is everyone is there to support everyone and help everyone grow. And definitely we support David's new book as well. So you guys should go out there and get that as well. So, but yeah, so I just wanted to give him a shout out too, because I know that, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So also just to add to that question, what was the original question? Like what's something you had to do?
Like, what's the most silly part of your career that you can share with us?
Yeah.
Like the funniest story, the most cringy one, something like that.
I will say I wouldn't say like cringy, but more, I don't know. I guess it's a mixture thing. So I guess I have several cringy stories, but we already used up our F word. So I'll limit to what stories.
You can use duck.
That's true. I could supplement the word. No, I mean, I think
fabulous.
It's true. I think something really cringy, like on the theme of AI, let's talk about like the amount of money organizations I have worked for have spent to name products, like come up with the name of products. Like, so over the last 20 years, I've worked for products that have spent over $100,000. I've had some spend $50,000. And this is really big firms that are used to come up with names for products because they didn't like the names that were come up internally. Now let's fast forward to what we have today, ChatGPT. I go into ChatGPT and I say, hey, you know what? I've got this really great new product coming up. Like, here's a description of it, nothing proprietary. Give me a name for it. And it'll come up with a bunch of names. And then you sit on a call with your marketing team, you list off a name. They're like, oh, I love that one. Let's use it. So that is a difference kind of in time. And it is so cringy because I have worked for companies that have spent like millions of dollars on research that we could have just hired internal employees, and took me years to get approval to hire UX team, research team, design team, because they weren't fully sold that we needed UX design and research in addition to product. So that to me in itself is super cringe, just in terms of not like cringe, but wow, what a waste of money. We could have invested that and, put it in the S&P 500 and, they could have done so much more with that. But yeah, I would say that was a cringe for me. So.
Okay, so maybe I'll share a story that I really like, and it was, I remember one refinement where the team and senior staff, engineers, like very exquisite crowd, was discussing how to solve this one problem. I can't really say what problem it was, but it was a very intricate technical solution, a lot of architectural techno babble. I was bored to tears. I was still there because you call PM to those meetings anyway. And I'm looking at it. I'm like looking at my phone. I can't focus on it because it's so complex to me. And then but you can solve this like with very easy solution. And I raise my hand after 55 minutes of techno jargon, and I say, hey, but if we just flip this switch and put this in a different color, not exact quote, it will do the same with like 20 times less work. Why can't we do that? And there's silence, absolute silence. Nobody thought of it. Like, oh, and odd one out was useful. What are the odds?
Did you implement it? Did you implement your idea?
Yeah. Cool.
Great.
Awesome. It's very
yeah,
good.
but it was that silence in the room, and it wasn't a strike of genius. It was just pure luck that I unzoned out the moment then where I could have that external perspective, and there were times where that would be a reverse, where a developer would give me an idea for a simpler solution to a product challenge. So I don't want to like make myself someone special because of that story, but I just love that there were like people who should have thought of it, and that silence in the room said everything.
Yeah, I think you're bringing up an amazing point around the collaboration elements of product. I mean, I think David's point in the chat is brilliant. We all help each other, but I think that community also includes the folks we work alongside. and the product folks, the design folks, development, everything. And I think that's what also is really neat about product. We work cross-functionally with everybody. And so it doesn't have to be our idea. We just create the environment where those ideas could happen. And I love that.
Yeah, and I have to admit, I have to agree with David that the product people on LinkedIn are so awesome. We collaborate, we talk, we exchange ideas. There's absolutely no competition between us, like the true one where we want to really maybe not kill the other person, but do everything in our power to be better than them. No, it's we learn from each other, we inspire each other, we do things together, we read and recommend our books, and we are open to invite more people in the crowd. And I especially had this awesome collaboration with Sanjeev _ some letter, I can't remember, but I recall starting this influencer geek and seeing his shorts all over my feed, making fun of developers, making fun of product people, and I love filming myself. I would love to have a collab with him one day, just to do something together. And 3 years later, we did a funny skit where he was a hiring manager, I was a college graduate without experience applying for a junior product role, and he was like, "And what's your product experience?" "I have none, but I have a lot of soft skills and eagerness." "Oh, no, we have to have 3 to 5 years of experience as PM before we hire you as a junior." Which is, unfortunately, it was supposed to be funny, but it's how it actually is, and in those ads, which is ridiculous.
John has a good excuse me. Wow. Is this mic smooth? Someone sent me a text about my mic. Is it still smooth when I cough into it? No. So John White says, what product roles do you guys see being created as a result of AI? So that's interesting, right? Because we've touched, obviously product has a really huge intersect with UX and design. In that really is something that has shifted a little. So not that you should go use ChatGPT, to replace persona research, but I've coached a lot of startups over the years, and a lot of startups use AI to run their persona research because they don't have anything else. They don't have a team. They don't have money. So those are I don't think it's necessarily replacing people, but it's changing how people are spending time in their day. So instead of spending, hours coming up with a user story or coming up with the initial script for your research, you might throw it in there and modify it after, kind of saving you time. So I think some of that, I don't think there's going to be, I know a lot of people have said, is there going to be an AI, product manager role specifically? But I think it's really these AI products that are being created, and you are just managing a product that claims to do all these things, right? So what a lot of people don't talk about with AI is it supervised or is it unsupervised? So is it something you're having to constantly feed more data to be accurate, or is it something that's able to run, on its own? So that's something I think that will change, is how product managers will spend their time. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think you've hit it. I wouldn't say that it's replacing. I think creating, I would expand on that I think there are new skills that you need to pick up. Again, having familiarity, being comfortable with using AI may be a new one, but I don't think that creates another type of product manager. There's always those, I compare product managers to octopuses. We always have all of these different skills that we need to apply. And it's the same thing with AI. But I do see that there's more opportunities for product managers to do, to get something more design ready before it goes to design, to get some of the prototypes ready before it goes to engineering. So I think it also enables each of the roles to do more of their craft, because the initial ideation can actually be a bit further along than it was before. So I think we'll see, or I hope we'll see, products that are even better, because some of that rough edges can be worked through, with AI alongside the existing team members that we have.
And just to play on that, the biggest thing that I'm seeing an impact to is engineering. So the ability to throw your code into Claude, not caring or having approval to do so, and
Right.
whipping up apps in a week. There is like a lot of people, a lot of engineers that I know use Claude. So
Mhm.
uh, that is something that's really big. You can also use ChatGPT for it, but I'm seeing a huge uplift in engineering using it more so than product. And mainly because when you're a product manager, you're putting more proprietary things in there, whereas the engineers, they don't have to put everything proprietary in there. They could ask it a question of, hey, I'm getting this error. Can you fix it for me? But I'm seeing a huge impact there. Bart, what do you think?
I have actually landed to more grim part of the internet where I saw research showing that AI is like the first big tech revolution that actually is not creating jobs and it's taking them away. And like I can see, no, AI is not taking away jobs, it's just generating new ones. But when I saw some scientific analysis, I saw that it's actually not the case and that the job market is getting smaller by that. But at the same time, when you think about it, I hear a lot of uh, statistical data that shows that humanity, though the population is still growing, the mature, advanced Western and Eastern countries are actually dying down because there's too few kids being born. So maybe AI is actually the thing that will help us fill in the hole, fill in the issues that will be created when that full speed ahead economy hits a roadblock of not enough monkeys to work for it. And like imagine if say bots in the future actually are advanced enough to not replace, compensate for the lack of elderly care workers. And this is like the, I don't want to say it's the worst job possible, but it involves some caring that's not too pretty, let's just say. And
Do you
there's
think AI has enough empathy to replace that role?
not even empathy, but like if there's a bot that can help to prepare dinner, bring you coffee, help you get up, and just be there to assist you in things that don't really require human being to be there, but like brute force, understanding, and even being able to recognize that you need a call with a therapist or another human being, or talk to your family just by analyzing what you say, how you feel, that you can create those in mass. And maybe a grandma can afford it, but the government can afford thousands of such bots to send to each people's home, and that generates savings because there's a medical bot in every house in the future that will make sure that you can save on like proper doctors who can care for patients that don't have typical diseases, who bots that can maybe not prevent every but minimize the number of broken bones in elderly people because there's always someone to assist them, or uh, keep nagging them to go on a walk and strengthen those bones and muscles. I mean, if imagine having like a coach all the time that will be, are you sure you want to eat that candy? This will be another 40 minutes of walk to compensate for additional fat, not to mention your broad cholesterol levels. Maybe not in this mechanical voice, I'm just making a point. Then that would
I
be
think
awesome.
that's interesting. I mean, I think what you said is super interesting. In terms of yes, they are saying there are less jobs and people to take care of older generations.
Mhm.
But I also see it already happening. I think I was mentioning before we started, I broke my Instagram account earlier, and I spent literally hours unable to get in contact with a human being. It went from like chat form to chat form, and all the forms failed completely. So are we really creating the right user experience by replacing things in the way that we're replacing with? And my answer is no, based on my experience today. And if someone from Instagram is listening, please unblock my account. No, I'm kidding.
That reminds me of my Goodreads account. I mean, same thing. It's like maybe now that I'm on this, this podcast with you guys, they'll allow my Goodreads account to go active. But I can see like we see it a lot in the area that I'm in, where people who are getting older, they don't want to go into another type of care facility. But if you can have something that is aware of your movements, I would say, and if you stop moving, when you're obviously outside of when you're sleeping, to be able to alert an individual to come get you. So something that actually adds a bit of care to lives, I could see helping, because there aren't people who necessarily want to sit there and watch someone.
Right. And some of those products are already being researched right now.
Yeah.
And but that's, you're right. I mean, I think, can we use AI technology for the good, right? For the better, and how it's being used, and not, I think the risk here with AI is, just like anything, right, is the abuse of using the information, or, of what you have. So that's something, as product practitioners, that for our toolbox, I'm looking at a couple comments here. Thanks, Ryan, for supporting Diana's comments and not mine. I'm just kidding. I know Ryan. Just giving him a hard time. He's still listening. Yep. He commented on the mic earlier. He sent me a text, so just giving him a hard time. But no, I think to your point on seeing AI as another tool, for the product toolbox, I think that's up for us as product managers to decide how we want to use it and advocate for it, because every organization is different. I've worked for organizations where it started out of like, nope, hard no, not using any AI. It's completely blocked off, to, okay, it can be used in these instances. In the last 5 years, I've gone back to school and got 2 master's degrees. One of which I'm like a course away from finishing. At Carnegie Mellon, and their policies completely changed at Carnegie Mellon. Initially it was a hard no, and now it's okay, you can use it, but make sure that you are, declaring when you use it, and you're not using it to write your initial thoughts. It's just rewording what you're saying. I mean, that's transformational. Can you imagine being back in high school or, undergrad, writing a 20, 50-page paper, being told, you know what, we changed our mind. You can use AI to fix your paper after. I mean, that's not fair, in my opinion. No, I'm kidding. But it's a different time, right? So I think we constantly have to change how we're thinking about it. It's not just about, right or wrong in using it, but how can it help the person that needs to use it in the way that they're wanting to use it?
Yeah. And I think
there's one. Okay, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, there was an article I was reading today that was saying like kids are using, AI for research, but not as much as for writing. And so it is interesting as AI becomes more prevalent to see where it starts to stick. And I think it's still evolving. So to go back, to some of the questions in the comments, we don't know how it's going to play out, but it is affecting our roles. It is affecting how we do things. But it all goes back to the adaptability of the individual. If you stay rigid and with a fixed mindset, it is likely going to be something that you don't keep up with. But if you look at it as an opportunity to grow your craft, to better help the customers that you're working with, ride that wave, because that'll keep you on the awareness side of what's happening next and where the benefit is.
And you could be behind, right? Go ahead, Bart. Sorry.
And there's also this human factor that clearly states that we are not always logical and not always aim to absolute efficiency. And I think the automatic cashiers is like the best example of it. That for what it's worth, it's not perfect technology. It has its flaws in user experience. But at the same time, the human cashiers aren't always smiling and doing their job the best way they can. But at the same time, the automatic cashiers improve the throughput, but they didn't eliminate humans from the shop. There are like some attempts with human-less shops, but not too successful, at least yet. And there will still be elderly people who don't want to interact with technology, whatever it is, and they will seek human contact for the simple joy of talking while you wait for your groceries to be able to be paid. And I was first a big fan of automatic cashing machines, but then again, if I buy a lot of fruits and vegetables and I'm not sure which is which, and I say, screw it, there's a human being that knows better, that will do it faster than me, and I'm okay with standing the line, so I don't have to bother myself with working as a cashier. And to that end, I'm not even sure if you heard that Amazon tried like a humanless shop, and there was supposed to be cameras that use AI to identify what you bought and then charge you for it. But it ended up that only 20% of purchases were done that way, and other 80%, as in opposition to like 10-20% declared, were actually people in India meticulously analyzing the footage to determine what was purchased, and you wouldn't get a bill and a list of your purchased goods hours or days after you did shopping, to a point where they had to close and redesign the shops to be, I'm not sure what they did to make it still humanless and not rely on so-called AI or like cheaper labor, unfortunately, which is not fair to say, but that's the reality of it for Amazon in this instance.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. I mean, in San Francisco, a lot of the Amazon Go's shut. And so similar thing. It's like they were not financially justifiable, but it was always needing humans to be able to check anyway. And so, but again, without doing an experiment like that, things don't move forward. So I love the fact that essentially it was an experiment, and we'll learn from it, and whatever happens next will hopefully be better.
And maybe let's just segue very unsmoothly to maybe talk about the book for the next few minutes. We are already here for 50 minutes. Let's not keep our guests too long. How about we end when the first hour hits, and maybe I can ask you a question that I would like to answer too. But tell me how your closest relatives and like groups reacted to the news that you are now a best-selling author. Diana, perhaps it's because I guess it's also your first book, right? We are on the same horse.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, a lot of excitement, a lot of encouragement. I write a newsletter, so people have been asking for a while, like, when are you going to bring all this together and write something? Mm-hmm. And so I think it's just, it's been exciting for me and, heartfelt for me just to see the support and, the excitement that people have shared. Mm-hmm. And I think goes back to what you guys were talking about and in the chat as well. The product community is just so supportive. And so it's been wonderful to see people saying things like, awesome to see more product, being discussed or being written about, because it's a field that so many people want to get into or in and want to get better. And so I think our book is an amazing companion to that type of experience.
And so, Teresa, it's your second book. So did it also make impact, or like, oh yeah, another one? Can you just pass on the potatoes, please?
No, I think it's funny. The first book I wrote, it's been I guess a couple years since I wrote it, and that book was called Solving Problems in 2 Hours. Was really more on like the research side of things, right? Of understanding the problem. Mm-hmm. This is really more how you go about executing on what you're solving, right? It's really in the meat of it, and so no, I think. This book is, it's not meant to be a final idea, right? It's meant to be a conversation, something that's continuing to evolve. And if we don't talk about these things as product leaders, then no one's going to talk about it, right? I mean, I think one of the things that we talked about in the book is, product management is changing. If you don't, you better keep up because it is changing. It's really has been changing for a while. It's continuing to change. And I am really fortunate, again, like just like you guys. I mean, super supportive. All the feedback we've got on the book is super positive, and people are excited about it. And we're just getting started. I mean, this thing just came out. I'm still doing events for my first book 2 years later, and I expect the same for us 2 years from now, that we'll still be talking about and evolving on these ideas. So I think it's a great start to the year, and I'm excited to see where our journey takes us together.
Mhm. I must say, I think I didn't appreciate how a big event in one's life the book releases, because I didn't really like talk about it. It was, I was writing it when I had like tons of other things to do, including taking care of a child, organizing a move, doing a little bit of refurbishing of the new apartment. Then there were like other articles, and it was just one of those things I committed to and had to go above and beyond with caffeine to deliver. So, and truth be told, we didn't really keep the original live date. So I wasn't like talking about it a lot. And then when I said, "Oh, my book came out," yo, what? Like, and you're not talking about it? It's big, but I guess it is. I mean, it really wasn't really like trying to be modest or anything. I was just like genuinely surprised that people are reacting this way. So my family is ecstatic. My friends were, let's just say, I didn't. The reaction was more negative than I would assume, but other product people at my day job was like, "Whoa, it's so awesome! Like, how did you do it?" And lots of questions are like, "Hey, let's do like a." No, maybe not a town hall, but like a product talk about your book, and you can tell us more about it. I actually delayed it and declined because I didn't know how to talk about it without making it about like just buy the book. So I felt like no, that's I have to figure out the formula. But this live helped me to maybe not talk about the book, but talk about the problems that we solve in a different way, like provoke a discussion, and then mention that, hey, there's a QR code there, you can use it to check out the book. And this week there's a sale actually, and what is it, the e-reader version is discounted until the end
Yep.
of the week.
We haven't even
So help
talked
me
about
out
that.
with-
Look at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, $6.99 till the end of the week for those that haven't bought it. But I think I wanted to touch on one thing you hit on is, I think from an empathy side of things, we're all product practitioners. I no longer am working for the company I was working for, when we started this book. And I think you're going through, some of those challenges of, it's hard to do all these passion things in addition to a full-time job. And it's so important also, that full-time job, because you're getting able to practice what we're preaching in the book, right? And so I think there's a fine balance there. And I think, as someone, like, I tend to be a more half glass full person, but if there aren't people in your life only celebrating what it is you're doing regardless, I mean, that is who you should be surrounding yourself with, because that is, really what's going to continue to drive you forward, is that positivity. And at the end of the day, I mean, the book is a bestseller in industrial design. So, I mean, we've already crushed the numbers against a lot of other books for their launch weeks for the first couple weeks. So we only have things to celebrate about. So,
and celebrating people that are here. So yeah, I'd love to
thanks,
see.
Mike gave us a shout out too. Actually, Mike has a book as well that just came out. So
Cool.
give Mike a little shout out there.
Brilliant. Well, as we come to a close, what final statements does each person have? Bart, you want to start in case you get us over that PG-13? We'll need to counter for you.
Maybe let me say ladies first, because I'm the host, so I'd love to hear from you. So let me come in the middle then, so I don't feel like I'm always like trying to be ahead.
Okay. On to you, Teresa.
All right. Yeah, I will. Yeah, I'll kick it off. No, I mean, I think just final words of wisdom are, we do think product management is changing, and we hope you'll get, if there's one piece of nugget you get from this book, then that's a win. But ultimately, this is a topic that's going to continue to evolve and will continue to spiral into new things. So thanks so much for joining us on this journey and all the support. And we hope you continue to provide feedback and to continue that conversation with us.
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah.
So let me go now. And I just want to say that being a product manager is really challenging, and you are in different companies, size, like different, with different managers, different teams. And if you want to be good at what you do, if you want to evolve and adapt to user needs market, to future-proof your career, it's about learning. It's about trying new stuff. It's about questioning the status quo and sometimes getting back to the basics when there's a mirage of tools that you need to use, you're told you need to use in order to be successful. But it all comes down to the user, to the right metrics, to the right strategy, to involving the right people in your process. And this is what we also wanted to include in the book, to help you see stuff from a different perspective, to help you look beyond where you need to look beyond, and when there are fundamentals that you need to go back to when everything feels shaky and uncertain. And this is just one of the things that you probably need to invest in order to keep up, in order to not even future-proof your career, one thing, but also future-proof your excitement and being proud of your job, because product management in the end is awesome, and it will be as awesome as you make it, because you have all the power and all the skills to battle anything that comes in your way. And I hope that we helped you achieve that with that book and with all that we do as content creators. Diana, over to you.
Yeah, I think you guys summed it up perfectly. I think the book, what really stands out for me, what I hope others take away as well, is just helping people understand where product management has come from. Because when we look at the past, it often gives us a preview to the future. And so we get you on your journey to where things are going to go. And now it's up to everyone here and us, when we write future iterations, to start charting where it's going to go next. Mm-hmm. So I look forward to seeing what evolves based on what people read in the book, but also what happens in the industry that we're in. I love the dynamics.
And I want to thank the 11 people who stick with us till the end. It's still 1 hour in the middle of the week. I think that it's late for me, but in the US it's the middle of the day. For India it's the middle of the night. So thank you for listening to what we had to say. Hopefully that was also an inspiring and teaching moments. We tried our best. And again, it was supposed to be a party, but it ended up like 3 product philosophers talking about AI, future, and like where are we going to go, what are we going to do. And it's all why we wrote the book, what inspired us, what got us to this party in the first place. So thanks everyone who purchased the book. Thank you for everyone considering that in the future. Again, there's this QR code that will help you to find the book. There's a promo code to buy it cheaper this week. And be on the lookout. Maybe there'll be more books from us. Maybe something different. We are product managers. We are looking to give you the best value at the least effort, least risk, and with maximum quality. And that's what forces us to create more, better, more fun. And thank you for being with us. And I'll see you in the next live event and the next parties.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Buy the book. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's worth it.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.